the next thing I want to say is, this is so interesting, is it? What do you think about this? I think it's a brilliant idea. And this has been on the news in Spain. So in the UK, they're talking about chemical castration for PDFs. It's all over the news, all over the world. CNN, all the Spanish news outlets. This is what is being considered. It's being considered. I mean, it's not law yet, obviously, but it's going to be trialed in 20 prisons. Let's have a look. What do you think? I think it's a brilliant idea. I've been saying it for years. I don't understand. I mean, personally, I would go that step further and do a bit of physical castration. Won't do any harm. But anyway, maybe that's a bit dramatic. But chemical castration for sex offenders is to be trialled in 20 prisons in the UK. So believe me, if this happens, if it happens, don't forget it's just a suggestion so far. This is going to, in Spain, they'll take it up. They'll take it up in different countries. So the pilot for the voluntary chemical castration, it's voluntary, by the way. So these sex offenders have got to volunteer for it. Now, from what I've seen sometimes about PDFs speaking, they quite often would, I've heard them say, I don't want to do this, I just can't help the way that I feel I look upon children in an sex way for whatever reason. And, you can hate them, you can do whatever you want, but if they're brave enough to admit that this is just the way they feel and they don't understand themselves why they feel like that and they'd like to be different, this is a good option, isn't it? They're going to volunteer for this. Chemical, I mean, it won't solve everything, because at the end of the day, if you want to sex abuse someone, you can do it with objects and stuff like that, can't you? But will this take away the desire to do it in the first place? Will it? I hope so. Anyway, we'll see. So Shabana Mahmood said she would expand a small pilot in southwest England to 2 regions after an independent sentencing review recommended that it continue. So it is in existence, and it's been recommended that it continue. You know what? It can't do any harm, can it? That's how I feel. It can, whether it works or not ultimately, I don't know. But how can it can only be a good thing, hopefully. So Mahmood is also exploring a national rollout of voluntary chemical castration for ex offenders and whether it could be made mandatory. I think they should make it mandatory. At the end of the day, when someone gets found guilty of doing this, they give up their rights, don't they, as far as I'm concerned. The children's rights are more important. If someone's been found guilty, obviously, not suggesting that you just do it for everybody, but sex offenders that have been found guilty, this is exactly, to me, what would be a good idea to do. If it just saved one child, it's got to be good, hasn't it? So no timeline for this decision has been set. And forensic psychiatry professor Don Grubin said he did not think the government would get the mandatory element of it off the ground. Why? As to simply make somebody take the treatment would be unethical. I understand about ethics. I've studied ethics at university, but how is this wrong ethics? Somebody's doing it voluntarily for a start. So how can that be against ethics when someone's volunteering to do it? It'll be someone who's already been found guilty of PDF, and he said, most doctors I know would be resistant to it. Well, do you know what? These doctors, they need to stop being resistant to it and start thinking about saving children. That's my opinion. You let me know. I know you'll all let me know what you think. in comments, you know. Hi Moonbeam. Yeah, have the tackle removed. Well, do you know what I don't know, maybe that's a little bit draconian. I'm not saying I disagree with you. I'm just saying that maybe would not get approved. But I think this should. Yeah, should. Something needs to be done. Something needs to be done. Dave, I haven't got it written on a toilet roll. I've got it on my little pad. On my little pad. Okay. Of course, it's getting dark. It's starting to get dark now. I can't read it now. That's the problem. So, chemical castration finished. So, anyway, just an idea. I'm sure, as I say, you'll all give me your opinions, and all our opinions count. This is what my channel is for. Give your opinions. Some of us will agree, some of us won't, but we give our opinions, and as long as we're not nasty to each other, we can be nasty to those PDFs, because, you know, at the end of the day, they deserve it.